Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you for joining us for video number 1 of our Mission City Growth Track. My name is Doug. This is my beautiful, talented, amazing, incredible wife, Connie, and we are so blessed to be the lead pastors here at Mission City Church. I want to just take a minute and say thank you for joining us on this video. No matter where you may be in your journey right now, I just want to remind you, you are so loved and valued. Maybe you're just checking us out and you want to know a little bit more about the heart and the vision of the church. That's really what this video is going to be about, is this introduction, the culture, kind of the DNA of Mission City Church. So no pressure. Maybe you want to take that next step and you're ready to commit and be a part of what God is doing here in this house. So Connie's going to share us a little bit of what the expectations are going to be throughout our growth track.
Yeah, in these next few videos, we're going to introduce just our core values of our church, give you guys some examples of how those values are expressed within our different ministries, basically how we do life, how we do church here. We want you to get to know us as a church. And at the end of our sessions together, our hope is that you'll know enough about us so that you can make a decision of whether or not this is the place that you want to plug in with you and your family and grow and flourish here at Mission City Church. And one thing you guys need to know, this is not a country club. You do not have to become a member here to plug in and be a part of Mission City Church. You are welcome and you belong here no matter what. But we do know that when you become a member, it can help you along that journey just to get thoroughly connected, to really truly know the heart of our church in a deep and intimate way. So that is our heart for you guys. And so no matter what you decide, no matter where you're at along your journey, we want to help you take those next steps.
Yeah, I love that. I'll put it to you this way. This is an opportunity for you to get some skin in the game. In other words, a lot of times we can just be spectators. We could be in the stands, but God has so much more for you. And I think now more than ever, the world that we're living in, we don't need a bunch of people in the stands. We need people to get in the game, be on the front line of what God has called you to do. Do you know there are 30 scriptures in the New Testament alone that you cannot fulfill if you are not plugged in to community of church? Now, a little bit just about me personally. I didn't grow up in all of this. I didn't grow up in church. My mom made me go when I was really little, but I never got anything out of it. It was more about religion. It wasn't about relationship. It was rules, and I think a lot of kids maybe don't enjoy church, but I remember my mom invited the pastor over when I was a little kid. I locked him out of the house. I didn't let him in. Anyways, I actually grew up and kind of lived a crazy life. And you guys, if you've come for any amount of time here at Mission City, you probably know a little bit of my story, but not growing up in church. I actually had my come to Jesus moment running through a marijuana field. People were chasing me with guns. I thought I was going to die. I called out to Jesus. The word says, those who call upon the name of Jesus shall be saved. I did that. I said, God, if you're real, save me from this. And long story short, God did a miracle. I lived through that experience and I got plugged into church right away because I know I needed something in my life that I wasn't able to provide for myself. So I went to church, and the very first church that I went to, I had some friends who attended there, and there was Connie up on the stage playing the drums. And I actually, listen, you should never put God to the test like this, but I literally did it again. I said, God, if you're real, hook that up. I think it really was like love at first sight. And she literally, we met that day. And the rest is history. We became youth pastors. We were married really quick and jumped right into ministry. We were youth pastors of that church for a few years. And then our season there ended. And we came to Mission City Church, this church right here. And we were called to be youth pastors at this church.
And my testimony is very, very different from his, like polar opposites almost, because I grew up in church from a very young age, and I stayed very closely connected with church, closely connected with God, served in ministry from a young age, saved and baptized from a young age, and just continued on that journey and stayed close to God and stayed closely connected to church. So when we met, had a lot of people in the church that were a little worried about this guy coming in. Who's this guy coming in taking the little church girl? But God knew what he was doing. That was for sure. God knew, and he had a plan. And we started at Mission City Church as youth pastors for a handful of years. And I remember we went to a leadership conference, us and the senior pastors of Mission City at the time. And we literally, at this conference, we went to a restaurant after, Coco's Restaurant, and we're sitting in this little booth, and God just downloads this incredible vision of the church to us in that moment. We're sitting in the restaurant, we're bawling, we're weeping. God is just doing this incredible move of literally showing us visually what God wants to do through this church. And a few years after that, the senior pastors were actually transitioning out of the church. And the church was ready to close its doors. Almost everyone had left. And I could not let go of that vision that I knew God had given. I was so closely connected to that. And I remember the last Sunday, we thought, this is it. The doors are closing. This is our last Sunday. I was playing the keyboard that day, and I got down on my knees on the floor, and I just began to just weep and cry and pray, because I said, God, what about the vision that you showed us? What's going to happen with that? I truly believe so much in what God had shown us that I knew that this was not the end. It couldn't be the end. I knew there was so much more. And it was pretty incredible what God did, because then in another restaurant, our parent organization, Grace International, stepped in, asked to meet with us. And in another moment, at a different restaurant, different town, everything different.
God always moving in restaurants? Jesus
God
and food. Come on.
God did an incredible thing through those pastors speaking into us again, a God moment, saying, you are meant to take over this church. You're meant to step into this role as senior pastors. God is not done with Mission City yet. God is not done with the vision yet, and spoke this incredible word over our lives. And so much has happened since then. I believe God's still not done. There's still so much more that God has in store, but we're excited that we get to do this journey together, and with all of you, it's amazing.
Yeah, that moment, there are those significant moments in a lifetime where you know everything is about to change. That was one of those God moments for us, that he was calling us to lead this church, to lead you. And really that vision, the dream that he planted in our hearts, was to reach a city, was to see an incredible outpouring of the power and the presence of God in the city of Tracy. And we'll talk a little bit about that in the next video. But I just really feel like, man, our gift, my gift, I think the greatest gift that I have as a pastor is that I just have such a passion and a love for God, and have such a passion for you to love God's people. And we want to continue to build a church. That vision is still unfolding right now, where there's just authentic community. It's a life-giving church where people can come. It's a safe place for whoever. They can just come and have a seat at the table to be able to encounter God. We want everybody to encounter God, find hope, and then live out their best life. And so we have a saying here at Mission City: when God is in the house, anything is possible. He is a God of miracles. And we are looking for that moment somewhere in our service. It could be in the parking lot when you're driving in. It could be in the hallways when somebody greets you. It could be during worship when the presence of God just falls. It could be during the message. But we are looking for that God moment for everybody who comes through our doors to just truly experience the love of Jesus. We believe God is a big God. Anything is possible. So what do? Man, we want to live big. We want to dream big. We want to give big. We want to serve big. We want to reach our city. It is so much fun when we could be a part of what God is doing on the earth. Again, I don't want to be in the stands. I want to be on the front lines. I want to do what God has called me to do, which really leads to the DNA. The vision of our church are these four things. You're going to hear this all the time as a part of the culture of Mission City. Here they are. Maybe you could repeat them with you, but we want you to know God. We want you to find freedom. We want you to discover your purpose. And ultimately, we want you to make a difference. In the very next video, we're going to talk about knowing God and the weekend services. Finding freedom, man, that's just people getting free from their hurts and their habits and their hang-ups. We're going to talk about that in future videos as well. Discovering your purpose, this is you discovering what God created you to do. There's a saying that says the two greatest days of your life are the day that you were born And the day that you discover why, we want you to know what your purpose in God is, what He created you to do. And once you discover that, we want you to live to make a difference. This is the culture. This is why I think Mission City Church is such a fun church, because our weekend services, man, it's not about us. It could be about you a little bit, but church gets really fun when it's about reaching people, meeting needs, serving, and making a difference in somebody else's life. So man, we're so thankful that you connected with us in this first video of our growth track. Man, if you're willing to take maybe a few more steps to hear a little bit more about the vision and the DNA of Mission City Church, man, if you'll just give us a little bit of time to hear our heart, I believe that it will be transformational for you and you'll never be the same again. We love you guys. We'll see you in the next video.